Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. According to investors, not necessarily banks or analysts, but you and I, the top performing asset of 2022 will be, well, let's explore. It'll be quite surprising when you see the results of this from retail investors in many ways, but in others, maybe not so much. But let's take a look at what the gold price and silver price and other metals are doing as we close the week out here of the first week of 2022. Gold is actually up slightly and silver as well, mainly because of the not so hot jobs report, 200,000 jobs when they're expecting more than double that. And platinum is the only metal that's actually taken a little bit of a downturn, over a 1% drop today. It's down $11, but the other two metals are only up marginally. Although silver has a notable increase here, over half a percentage point, thereby narrowing slightly the gold to silver ratio to just above 80. But platinum is down. Palladium is actually up fairly substantially, up $48. And rhodium actually went up as well too, up $500 more and went up $1,000 yesterday. It is now flirting with the idea that it could possibly hit $20,000 if we're not careful. And then we're only 10 grand away from its all-time high. Of course, again, we're breaking records with rhodium. It's been amazing to see its journey over the past year or two. Fascinating indeed. But nonetheless, there's where the metals are as of the close of markets here very soon at the end of the trading day on Friday, June the 7th. And now let's see what investors are saying. Retail investors, are looking to gold and silver for best results in 2022. Both those metals together. Now, one metal does slightly edge the other metal, and there's another metal that, in a way, I'm kind of surprised they didn't look at, but I think there's several reasons why that could be the case. This is a survey that is done by Kitco, and they do these surveys fairly often. They ask Wall Street folks, and they also ask retail investors, essentially you and I. Pretty interesting indeed. After a disappointing year for gold and silver, Main Street is looking for the bearish tide to turn in 2022, picking the two metals as the top performers in the new year, according to Kitco's online survey. Gold ended the year down 3.6%, posting its biggest annual decline since 2015, as we reported before. Silver wrapped up 2021 with a drop of 11.5%, which was the metal's sharpest decline since 2014. Both metals failed to gain traction throughout last year despite the hot inflation narrative. A strong economic recovery and a more aggressive Federal Reserve outlook weighed on prices. Retail investors are hopeful that the bearish trend has peaked, with Kitco's survey results showing participants almost equally split between gold and silver as the two top choices for best performers in 2022. Out of 1,569 respondents, 32.7% picked gold as the top performer for 2022, while another 32.1% opted for silver. That's very close. The third most loved metal for next year was copper, with 12.9% of respondents betting on the red metal. And that is key here, folks, because there is going to be a growing copper demand as we see more implementation in electric vehicles, because copper usage in those vehicles is far greater than that of silver. And so I think that's why those 12.9% of folks going for copper, that does make sense. And that very well could mean that they may be actually right if demand grows and there's supply chain issues get worked out and we see an increased production in electric vehicles. Although Another 9.2% chose lithium for batteries, and that kind of makes sense as well. And 6.7% picked Bitcoin. In fact, there's some bearish material coming out on Bitcoin. Some people feel it could actually crash down to $10,000. Platinum only garnered 4.5% support, followed by palladium at 2%. I can understand why palladium would be last in this list, or down. Palladium would be last in this list in terms of the percentage of number of people. However, because it's been so high for so long, and it's starting to see it swing downwards. But I'm a little bit surprised that platinum didn't get a little bit more respondents moving to that direction. But it kind of makes sense because platinum is not really talked about a whole lot. And some of that retooling means that it may be bullish. We could see the prices for platinum rise, but it just may not be the top performer. Gold and silver are the two strong ones here in this, and we'll garner some other analysis as to why I think maybe that might be why investors are thinking that they're going to go up this year. The Wall Street side is also bullish on gold and silver in the long term. Analysts told Kitco that gold is well positioned to rally along with interest rate hikes, while silver has a chance to play catch up after lagging behind gold for months. We'll talk about that, how gold could be well positioned to rally alongside interest rate hikes. After facing numerous headwinds in 2021, we believe gold's path higher looks clear in 2022. Moderately equity market returns and inflation concerns may bring the market's focus and flows back to the yellow metal next year. The greenback will not be a substantial headwind in 2022 as it was in 2021, said Wells Fargo in its outlook. While we are optimistic that gold could finally move higher in 2022, a stronger price trend may take some time to develop, which prompts us to lower our year-end 2022 target range to $2,000 to $2,100. Bank of America also pointed to gold's upside in 2022 while also highlighting positive outlooks for silver and platinum. As gold markets refocus from tighter monetary policy towards how high rates can rise, the yellow metal should rally. We believe 10-year treasuries above 2.5% are difficult to sustain. Increased investment into solar panels should boost silver. Platinum is a rebound trade on normalization of chip shortages in the auto industry. Substitution from palladium should also help, the bank said. Bloomberg Intelligence sees gold outperforming other metals in 2022, citing enduring trends favoring the precious metal. The primary question for 2022 might be what stops gold from regaining the upper hand versus most commodities. And our bias is for enduring trends, notably since the financial crisis, to prevail, which favors precious metals more than industrial and the metal sector over broad commodities, some Bloomberg Intelligence senior commodity strategist Mike McGlone. Since the end of 2007, gold's roughly 115% gain has underpinnings from an unlimited supply of fiat currency. Greater supply elasticity is a copper headwind, indicating the difference for investors. So very interesting how these things, the reasoning and rationale behind them, and they're as diverse as the amount of people giving the opinion. What I am bullish on is gold. It is going to be the biggest performer here in 2022. You should see a move up to the highs from 2020. There is even a potential for a $3,000 price target on gold. You have to look at the inflation numbers. I don't think inflation will go back to 2%. The Fed will taper, but ultimately people will rotate into gold, says Gareth Soloway, who's a chief market strategist at themoneystocks.com. And if it goes well into the new year, silver has a chance to outperform the yellow metal, analysts have pointed out. There's certainly that catch-up story built in there. It has underperformed gold to date, and you'll find some switching by investors into the silver market as a consequence of that, said ANZ senior commodity strategist Daniel Hines. The gold to silver ratio also points to silver's outperformance, noted Perth Mint manager of listed products and investment research Jordan Eliseo. The very fact that gold to silver ratio is roughly at 80 to 1, that alone suggests that if gold is going to rise, silver at the very least is going to come along for the ride and could quietly outperform gold. It typically does, by the way. We see it happen, especially over a long trend. Silver does tend to outperform. Silver also benefits if commodities as a whole do well. If economies perform relatively strongly, it should benefit from an industrial perspective in the whole ESG transition that's taking place in the economy. Although there have been exceptions of that in 2021 where many commodities have performed much better than silver. So that's something to consider here. Silver has the best chance to rise in 2022, said Gainesville Coin's precious metals expert Everett Millman. It's so cheap relative to other metals and commodities, and it figures prominently in emerging technologies and green energy. It is a perfect storm for silver to finally break out in 2022, especially after it had lagged gold these past few years, although I do remember some of the same analysis given out in 2020. Analysts have also highlighted platinum's upside potential in 2022 due to its supply-demand fundamentals. Platinum doesn't have all the conspiracy and short sellers that silver has. The market is smaller. There's not a lot of players involved. You have the supply issues, but these are being resolved. You'll see platinum demand snap back. When supply chain issues are resolved, you should see platinum be one of the that outperforms the rest. It is one of the underdogs from this last year. That's from Blue Line Futures chief market strategist Philip Streibel. He told Kitco News. So that is interesting. So we're getting different theories as to why all these commodities could do better. And I'm tending to kind of lean more towards platinum as well too. I'm very bullish on platinum. I have been for several years. It has not performed as well as I thought it should in previous years, but it is much more difficult metal to tap down or to make predictions on. But interesting news indeed. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I posted a couple of videos earlier today. Hope you will check out as well. Very interesting information there. And I hope you will consider engaging in the comment section as well as thumbing up this video. It does help the channel. If we could get half of the people that watch this video to thumb it up, that would be a great improvement over the previous videos that we've had engagement on. So there you go. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.